Welcome to the Comic and the Counsel. We are back. We missed you. We're happy to see you. I love you. We love you. Right, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm pretty much there.
I'm in LA right now where it is like 50 degrees, so it's like the dead of winter. Everyone is
Oh man, it's like
freezing their balls
Alexa,
off.
what's the temperature? It's 45, but it's actually colder because it's really windy.
No, I went down to San Diego and featured at the La Jolla Comedy Store with Eric Griffin, which was a lot of fun. It was 5 shows and almost all of them were sold out. I know, like, I'm pretty sure 2 or 3 of them were, I think, and even the Sunday show was like packed. I was like, holy shit, this is fantastic. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, good crowds. I mean, good weekend. And it was my birthday. I'm now 36. Oh God.
Oh shit, I'm sorry, man. That's really old.
I had a good run.
Wait, when is your birthday? What's the exact day again?
December 4th.
Okay. Yeah, because my sister's is the 8th. So I just wished her a happy birthday. She turned 40. So you're not quite there yet.
I'm right around the corner, man. It's
Yeah.
I feel like 30
You need a knee replacement, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, my back's fucked up. I mean, so here's why I feel like 36 was kind of like a turning point for me, or just like a impactful, is because like I see it as like 30 to 34 is your early 30s, 35 is your middle, right, the midpoint, and then 36 to 39 is your late 30s. So I feel like I'm in that late 30s range now, where I'm just like 40's right on the corner, and then after 40 they call it over the hill for a reason, because
if you sign up for anything online to make an account, any membership, you're in the new category, because it'll say, are you 18 to 25 or whatever, and like 34 is the cutoff for the next.
See,
right,
it's all down.
But I'm there too, so we're old.
Oh man,
it's good though, because you get to just kind of like, you can just trash all the music. I like that. Like every time I hear a song, I'm like, this is bullshit.
Well, yeah, we sound like our grandparents, right? That were like, what is this rap music, or what is this heavy metal, rock and roll, whatever,
Yeah, I saw an interview with, I might have told you this, but Ad Rock from the Beastie Boys was on what's his name? They call him, I think Shay is what they call him. He's the guy from MTV, like when they had real VJs. He's a black guy. He's got like a lot of hair, and so he always has that big cap on. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Anyways, I like that podcast. He's a good music journalist, and Ad Rock was kind of like, he was asking him about new music, and Ad Rock was like, I don't really like new music because it's not for me. It wasn't written for me. Music is like kind of a generational thing. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I'm fine with it. I like new music, but I still just want to keep listening to mine over and over and over again.
His own.
That's the way everyone is. Right?
He likes. Yeah.
Yeah. Not his, but like the music that he grew up with that made him want to make music, right? And so that's the way I feel. I mean, I don't understand some things. I'm like, some things are just kind of retreads of things we've heard before. Like people got upset about that WAP song,
WAP. Oh yeah.
WAP or whatever.
What ass pussy?
Yeah, but I was like, when I was 12, there was like my neck, my back, my pussy, and my crack. Like,
fuck yeah,
that was way nastier. And it's all right. Like, it's just not everything sticks with you. Like people worry so much that everything's like having a deep influence on you. But
no, it's interesting. Like I was gonna say, like, or you can be even weirder like me and go even further back to like classical music, which I like, or I mean, like, yeah, and jazz. Like you like jazz, and
yeah,
I like jazz, and that's like older than what we came up with. So that's also interesting, right? It's like,
yeah, well, I mean, that's also how that's how things are good, because they've been around, right? So like there's a lot of things that I thought were great when I first heard them because they were just kind of novel. They had a new beat or whatever. But that's why we like old music, because if it's really, really, really good, we all will latch onto it eventually, you know, and that's why certain things stick around. Of course, the opposite happens too. You know, good music is forgotten, I guess. But
Well, like, do you think when it first came out, people were like, "What is this noise?" Right, and then they kind of grew and became, what it is now, like good music, or like, is that gonna happen to like what's like a newer form of music? I don't know, dubstep or something like that, where like we're like, "Oh, what is this noise?" And then 50 years from now, people are gonna be like, "Ah, this
yeah,
classic music here."
yeah, dubstep's probably pretty old for us.
Well, I don't. When was
Like
that?
kids
Like,
today probably don't think that's very new, but
no, what is that? That was like mid 2000s or something.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I meant like a newer in the past, like
There's a
20, 30 years.
right. And yeah, some of it is just garbage and it just goes away. And we
What's
laugh.
like a new genre or a new style of music?
Trap music.
Oh,
It's
I figured that's been around for a while, but isn't that just like
it's been around for a while, yeah, but it wasn't when I was in high school. It's a more
really? Oh,
I don't think
okay.
so. I think it came out of Chicago
Oh, okay.
after we were like out of high school. But what about that Billie Eilish?
I'm not familiar with a lot of I'm like really out of the loop. And I think that's probably because when we were in high school and stuff, there was MTV and VH1 and all those other music channels. The internet wasn't really huge yet.
Yeah, MySpace was really just your space. People weren't like
and
watching your news feed.
and you would kind of just hear new music from like music stores, friends talking about going to shows or whatever. But now there's so much, I feel like, and I don't watch. No one ever really watches TV anymore. I don't even know if MTV plays music, but anymore. But I guess there's like Spotify and iTunes or whatever. You'd have to like browse or something like that, and maybe YouTube even. But if you're just like watching your whatever shows you watch on Netflix or Hulu or whatever, and I don't know, I guess listening to the stuff that you listen to coming up, like how are you ever gonna learn new artists? I don't know. I guess just scrolling through Instagram or something. I don't know, but I hear new artists and I'm like, is that I'm like, is that a singer, a rapper? Is that a girl or a guy? Like,
Yeah.
what?
Right.
Like I heard the name Dua Lipa and I was like, no clue. Like that could be a girl, a guy, that could be a singer, a rapper, fuck if I know.
Well, I follow a lot of musicians on Instagram. That's actually not a bad way to do it because it's all about like your photos and videos. But I still have a Pandora account.
So that's what I was like. Yeah, if you have Spotify and you put it on like random or whatever, like that's what
Right.
Pandora does, right? Like matches similar artists, right?
Yeah. But I've had that I've had that for 15 years.
Nice.
And that's why I don't want to get rid of it because it has your old stations. It used to be limited to, I think it was like 100. And, so you had to like make choices, but now they've made more money. And so it's kind of unlimited like Google. And so I can go back and listen to a station I was listening to when I was like 19 or 20. And it's just kind of cool because I was like, doing the thumbs up, thumbs down on everything. So I can hear exactly what I wanted to listen to,
Nice.
whether it was like jazz or like rock music or funk or anything. So I think it's awesome. And now I can just tell that Alexa to play it.
I went hiking with a friend a few months ago and he was playing I think it was Pandora on his phone, just like a random playlist or track, whatever playing, and it was like that time, I want to say like early 2000s, like I guess it's called new metal, maybe, like all those bands, like every song that
Yeah,
came on I was
right.
like, oh, I remember this. I haven't heard this since I was like in high school, and I was like, man, wow, like, and there was a bunch of songs like that, right, because it was that same whatever style, whatever Pandora sets it on,
Yeah.
song artists like this. So it was all like the new metal in the early 2000s. And I was like, oh shit, every single song that came on, I was like, oh man, I remember this. It's been like 20 years.
Yeah, it was all the bands that I pretended I didn't like when I was in high school. Like Korn would come out with a song, like, oh, I don't like Korn, but I really like that song, Freak on a Leash. And
Well, I
then
like that in middle school, but like I'm talking more like the bands, like not like that hard, but man, I can't even remember some of the names.
Alexa, stop.
Hold on, let me give me a second.
Started playing music.
It was like when Nickelback was kind of getting popular, I guess, but like those bands that were around that time that were heavier than them. Oh, do you
Like
remember that band?
Nickelback?
Like that band
Or-
Crossfade? Do you remember that band?
Yeah, or like Trapped or
Yeah, that and trap. Yeah, exactly. Like that style. Because I remember that Crossfade song came out. I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. That was like
Look
a
at this photograph.
and or like maybe even the fuck what's the Creed, like that style.
Oh
And
yeah, I saw them at concert actually. Yeah. I know that that probably embarrasses you, but it embarrasses me
yeah, I'm
too.
like we can't be friends anymore. But
But no, I my friend Tim, you know Tim, right?
yeah,
Tim the Tool Man.
yeah.
Uh that's not a joke. That's just his name is Tim Allen. But he really liked them and he was like, if you like guitar, he's like, you got to come see the guy. If you don't like Scott Stapp, you just come and see it. So I went there and it was a big, kind of like a sports arena show. I haven't been to many of those. And so there were like pyrotechnics and it was actually a pretty good show. But the guitar player from Alice in Chains was opening, playing like Alice in Chains songs. So it was kind of cool to just go see like an old grunge band, you know, after because the lead singer, you know, like killed himself. So
Hmm, gotcha. Damn. Well, how was Creed?
um so yeah, so it was the guitar player is really good. You know, what happened is with Creed, everybody didn't like the lead singer and the band didn't either. So he ended up having like a mental breakdown or something. I don't know what happened. But he kind of they kind of split up and Mark Tremonti is the guitar player and he's very good. And he kind of he played with other people that from other like grunge acts that you probably remember. I don't remember who, um, but it was a good show. I mean, the opening was really cool. There's a song, if you don't like Creed, if you want one song to listen to like Creed, Bullets. I think they kind of copied U2, but it's called Bullets and it's actually pretty good. Like if you like guitar, you know, like heavy guitar.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Right on.
And
Cool.
Alice in Chains.
I saw speaking of arena shows, I saw the Killers in an arena in San Diego when I first moved back there at the end of 2009. Um I don't remember who they played with. I think it was smaller names opening for them, but it was like a really good show. Like they had this whole display and like lights and confetti and all that shit. It was
Oh
fun.
yeah.
We were pretty close too. It was pretty cool.
And it was in an arena kind of place.
Yeah, it was a San Diego State, like their arena.
Oh yeah, nice. The
Yeah,
Killers.
yeah, I like the Killers.
Yeah, I remember them around the same time. They were probably like in a Pandora station at the time, right? Like that's why it's kind of fun too, because I can go back and listen to like one hit wonders, or there was kind of like there was sort of a like, you know, genres will have like a little bit of a blip in pop culture, right? So there's like punk, and then it goes away, and then it'll come back, and the emo was like a thing for like 3 years, and then it went away, but there was kind of a revival of just really good grungy guitar through people like the White Stripes, Jack White, I really like a lot. And the Killers are kind of in that genre. They're a little poppier, but like the Strokes and there's another band, the Hives, maybe. But just
Um,
kind of like really raw, like
yeah,
something
yeah, yeah.
Strokes, but you know, just really plain guitar.
Mm,
The Arctic Monkeys, that's another, yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I was gonna say like they have this bar by my place. They do emo night, or they just play emo music on. I think it's like Wednesday night or something like that. But Yeah, I'll be walking by and I'll be like, ah, I remember that song. And yeah, there's like that like crossover between like pop punk and emo where, you know, in high school we were like into that style, and like I went to Warped Tour a couple times, you know, and some of those bands I'm like, I'll hear it and I'll be like, oh, I remember I saw these guys live at Warped Tour. Um, it's just so
Yeah.
funny here, and kind of like back when I was talking about those like newer metalish bands or whatever, where I'm like, man, I haven't heard this since high school. Same kind of thing when I hear like a pop punk or emo song. I'm like, holy shit, I forgot about this song. Like,
Yeah.
whoa. And sometimes I'm like, man, I liked this. I'm like, God, this sucks. There was
Yeah.
a
That's what I,
what's someone was playing
I
Yellow Card the other day, and I remember them, and I saw them live at Warped Tour, and I remember like I wasn't like super into them. I remember like not hating them, or I remember being like, you know, like I guess liking them. Um, but I heard us they played them in Ralph's, actually, in the grocery store, and I was like getting my food, and I was like, oh yeah, Yellow Card, and then I was like, man, this song fucking sucks. I was like, did I kind of like this before? Like, oh God.
I remember being at one of the Warp Tours, and I think it was a band called Story of the Year,
Oh, I remember them. Yeah.
and they were playing, but like right next to NoFX, and NoFX is like a staple, right? Like they've been around
Mhm.
forever, and they're never going away. And I don't know what happened, but like when Fat Mike came out, he was just like, I hate these. He was just like went on and on. He was like, I'm gonna beat their asses. And he was like challenging them to a fight. He was like, your music sucks and blah 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 blah. And I was like,
Really?
yeah,
Wow. I was gonna say, I think I went. I don't know if that was a Warped Tour. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, because
yeah, it was. I
was
think,
that the was I there with you?
yeah, I think so. You might have been to a different one, and we might have like I think we went to one together, but you might have been to a different one, and we
The one I
just
went to was in
went off
Charlotte,
with
and I
each
saw No
other.
Effects and Story of the Year, both those bands. It was that same
Yeah,
year.
well,
I think like that would have been 2004. I think
yeah.
something like that.
Well, they were playing, yeah, they were playing side by side. And I just thought it was funny because it was like these new, they weren't much older than us, I don't think. Um, it was just kind of an interesting contrast between all these like new emo bands and all these like staple punk bands that were playing.
Right. That's like that like, yeah, little crossover between the punk, pop punk, and
Yeah,
emo, screamo, post
like
hardcore, whatever you want to call it.
Coheed and Cambria is like a perfect blend of all that,
Yeah, right, right.
a good marriage of that. But I was going to mention, I went to this Vietnamese place today, and you saw that, and I was complaining about that, but
Oh,
really
the
awesome. It's a great place, and I really want you to come to it if you because you when you were here, we didn't really go to Chinatown much, but if we did kind of walk through there, and it's been having some problems, and but it's called Butterfly Belly, and
I'm in.
yeah, so their thing is like they're the only people that do faux soups, like which is like Vietnamese ramen, I guess. But
Well, yeah, there's a lot of
um,
faux or pho places,
yeah,
right? I
I know,
mean,
but like he says, I can't verify this, but he says they do their broth a lot longer than anyone else. So they do their broths for 40 hours instead of using MSG and gluten, stuff like that. So, but anyways, the reason I wanted to tell you about it is because it's exactly like Aromas. It's exactly like
oh,
Aromas.
that restaurant in Charleston.
Yeah, and he already invited me to come play music, and I didn't even tell him I'd do anything. But he has like a guitar and like a karaoke machine, and this guy just wants to play guitar. And so he's like, so he got this guy, the people who were like belching all the time, he was asking us, he was like, do you sing? Do you play guitar? And so he got this guy to come up, and they start singing like Dancing Queen from ABBA, and he's just like playing rhythm guitar. He's the owner, and he just wants people to come play with him. And so like I'm gonna go hang out there, like I might not have the courage to come play music with him, but I'm gonna keep hanging out there and like
Does he just live in the back? It's like not even a legit restaurant. He's just cooking broth at his place.
yeah, I mean
He
it's
set up
yeah,
some tables and chairs. Like, come hang
Yeah.
out with me.
No, it's
Health
it's
inspectors
actually
come by. They're like, "What butterfly belly? What is this? This is a
yeah.
residence."
No, it's a really nice place. I mean, that's why I say it reminds me of aromas, but it's got more room. And so if you came, I could easily we could put a jazz trio together.
That's
Play
hilarious.
like easy because this guy he loves music. He just wants people to like. He's really extroverted, and he just wants people to like come, get entertained. And he's kind of in it's a great restaurant, but it's like right in the middle of all that stuff that was going on, like in Chinatown,
Mm,
and it's like right in the park blocks. Like we walk there, where I live, it's just like that grassy area where the
yeah,
university is. But that continues. It goes on straight through Chinatown, and he's right there, and it's awesome.
nice.
So yeah.
How's the food though? Is that
Oh
40-hour broth good? Yeah.
man, I told him I was like I'd pay $10 for the broth. It's so good, seriously.
Secret recipe, huh?
Yeah, he's probably lying. It's probably just drugs or something.
um, no, yeah, actually, I don't think I've had pho in a while, but I've had ramen
Is that how you say it?
a few times. Well, pho or pho, I don't know. I've heard both.
Okay.
Um,
It's probably not the way I would say it because they also they only make their own sauces you know
wow,
organically. I guess everyone says that, but
sounds legit.
it was really 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 good.
I don't know the difference between pho and ramen exactly, but there's definitely some good ramen here, and
Yeah, I think it's just the spices. Maybe
I'm a
'cause he's
big
brought
fan
like
of
a
the
bunch of
ramen.
things with it. Yeah.
Speaking of which, I haven't had some in a little bit. I could go for some. Um, but yeah, I was in when I was in San Diego, I had some California burritos. I had in like a five. How many days was I there? Like yeah, like 4 days. I had like I don't even know how many burritos. At least four. Um, just because like they're different from LA. Like LA's has a ton of Mexican food, but it's different from San Diego, where you have like taco trucks here in LA, and you have other Mexican restaurants. But in San Diego, it's kind of it's like common to have like a lot of the taco shops are very similar, like a similar
Yeah.
style of burritos where you get a burrito with it's like mostly meat and like a pico de gallo kind of thing, like with some guac or whatever. Um, but it's different from LA and most other places. And most other places put rice and beans in every burrito. Where I mean, I guess it's smarter for business, right? Like it's more you save money on the meat, right? Because you can just put in a little meat and then just fill up the tortilla with rice and beans. Um,
Right. Like the food trucks where I live.
but but in San Diego, like traditionally the taco shops there, like the burritos don't have rice and beans. They're just like meat with guac and like the pico like kind of mixed in with whatever meat you get, like whether it's carne asada or pollo asado. That's another thing that's common down there is pollo asado, which is essentially just
Yeah.
marinated chicken, but um that's not really common here in LA at taco places. I mean you see it, but it's not as
Yeah.
common.
I've never seen that actually.
I think it's a Baja thing specifically. Because
Yeah.
Mexico, they have like mole, which is I think more like central, like by like Texas. I think they eat mole there more than they do in like Baja's more like carne asada and pollo asado. I think, but it's like I grew up on that stuff, so to me it's fantastic, and you get to really enjoy the meat more so than just having this like tons of rice and beans with it.
Right. Right.
Um, and I love it. So I always like make sure I get as much as I can before I come back here, and because I'm like I won't have them for a while. Although
Yeah.
I think I am going down for Christmas. So
Yeah. Yeah. I want to go to San Diego too, just to get some of that good Mexican food I've been hearing about.
have you been there?
No, I haven't. I've never been to San Diego. I've been to LA, a couple of times, and I was told that the Mexican food out here was better on the West Coast, but it turns out I think it's a specific. It's more like close to Mexico, right? Like if you want to get the best, San Diego, LA, it's not just the West Coast, although there are some good Mexican restaurants here. We went to one, I think, like, what was that place called?
Oh yeah. Over there,
Por
what's that?
favor.
Yeah, what's that that area called, or that street? Mayfield? What?
Mississippi Avenue and North. Yeah.
I knew it was an M. I
Yeah,
was like,
Mayfield or like Muppy Buppy. Yeah.
Missouri, Montana.
No, it's North Mississippi Avenue, like in Northeast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool little area. Yeah.
Yeah, the place was pretty good. They had a lot of meats.
Mhm.
With like what you're talking about, kind of like that Brazilian steakhouse.
Ooh,
Man, I'm so hungry.
I need Brazilian barbecue stat.
I don't have to eat all the time, but when somebody starts bringing up like meat that's been marinated, somebody just starts talking.
If you were to like smell it right now, you'd be like, okay, I have to eat right now.
It's like I'm a dog or something.
Like if your neighbor was cooking, you'd be like, oh my God, I can smell it. I have to leave. Yeah, like dogs, all of a sudden we just follow it and just stand next to it and stare at it. Give me some of that.
I took my dog to a Mexican food cart once, and I'll never do that again. It was like torture for her.
Just standing there, right? Like staring.
Yeah, I had to
"Please
like
give me
order a
some."
little side just for her because she's just kind of like, it's like a drug addict who's just like, you're just teasing them with all this stuff.
I remember one of my roommates in college had a dog, and I'd be like making food on the counter, and then like I would turn, it's just sitting in the kitchen. The dog would just be staring at me like, I'm like, oh, you've been there the whole time. As soon as I started making food, you like knew what was up. You were just like, I know what you're doing. Give me some. Wasn't there something you wanted to? Oh, didn't like a homeless person like walk by you or a crazy person? I don't know. Someone told you to put on a mask, but they weren't wearing a mask or something like that.
Oh, today? Yeah.
So what happened?
Oh man, every day. This is just my life now downtown. Okay. So yeah, so I'm walking down the street. I'm heading towards the place that I'm talking about, like where we went, Chinatown.
Right.
So I'm like, I kind of walk into downtown. I'm going down Fifth Avenue, headed towards that way. And there's this woman, and she's just coughing. No mask, you know. Like just hideous, right? And she's kind of up against the wall, and I'm walking towards, right?
Yeah.
And she's doing that, right? Like she's going towards the bus stop.
And
she just keeps on. And I'm not saying anything. And she gets right here and she's just like,
oh,
she just like spreads her arms in a very intentional way, right? Yeah. And there's a lot of people downtown that are just like, they're very mad. And if you look like you're dressed in clean clothes, they just think that you're the devil. You know, they just think that you're like some rich, like they think I hang out with Mark Zuckerberg and, you know,
right.
And so she's doing that. I can kind of tell she's just trying to spit on me. And you know, she gets about this close, and I was like, for fuck's sakes. Right. And it's a bus stop, so everyone's around. Right. So everyone
sounds like something I would say.
Yeah. Right. I mean, like, I don't know what else to say. I'm not blaming you if you have a cough, but like, come on. And she goes, why don't you put on a fucking mask? And I was like, man, you're lucky I'm headed to Chinatown to get some good ramen.
Yeah, I would have been like, okay, this bitch is crazy. Like, obviously.
Well, and she wasn't even really that I mean, she didn't give off that vibe of being completely out of her mind. But the people around here sometimes, man, they act like they're like the most. I always hate the term. Well, I didn't hate the term, but like entitled, I always thought that was not accurate to describe me. But yeah, there's a lot of people out here who are they're entitled.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was there with you, we were walking down, I forgot what neighborhood it was, but it was like an older guy, right, with like a grocery bag, and then he just like slammed it, huh?
That was in the Alphabet District.
Yeah, that's it. And he just like slammed it down. And he was like, "Want to fight me?" And that was so funny because we were just watching, and you were like, "Was he talking to me?" or you said something like, "Was he talking to us?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's just keep walking because that guy's fucking crazy." And he like kind of like followed us a little bit, but then stopped. I guess, and
And then
turns out.
somebody started jerking off later when we were eating or something. We were having a drink or something like that.
He looked like he was across the street jerking off, walking, yeah, down across the street.
I wish I could say that's my only time. It's not. But the thing is, oh, he's pooping in the safe way. He's in the
Oh
produce aisle.
God.
And here, everybody like nobody understands the law around your emotional support animals versus a service animal, right? And so there's like it's a little bit delicate because you can only ask so many questions, but you are allowed to ask questions, but people don't know, and the law is just kind of a mess. And so as a result, when you live in a place that's very like tolerant of everyone and nobody wants to, because in Portland, like nobody wants to be seen as mean, right?
Mean.
Or aggressive, mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to say, hey, you can't do that, right? And so everyone here, if somebody's jacking off in your daughter's face, they'll just be like, well, he's sick.
Right.
Kind of like walk away. And it's like, he is sick, right? But he needs to go around the corner and jack off.
I remember that. I remember seeing that when the guy was most likely jerking off. Like just moments later, like a family walked by with like a fucking stroller, and I remember just thinking, like, man, that's got to be weird if that girl saw that. Like, what's the parent gonna do? Like, oh, he's just being silly, honey. Like, let's keep going. Like, what? Like,
Right.
like, God, like this. I would not walk your kids through there.
Yeah.
Take them to outside, like, I don't know where the zoo is, I guess.
In the grocery store, though, I see people's pets all the time. They'll have like someone will come in and they order them from the same place. It's like it looks like a military vest, but it's a service dog. Like it's real official. It'll be a Chihuahua that's like 22 years old, and it's like, and they'll just be walking around with this like service dog vest, and they're like trying to eat meat in the deli, and it's like, nobody believes that's a service dog, but
Right. What service is this dog providing?
right,
Entertainment.
yeah, entertainment to me. That's why I don't care that much. I mean, I don't care if you bring your dog, honestly, but it just gets to a point like when people start pissing and shitting places, it's like,
Right. Yeah, and people let their dogs do like whatever they want. Like that's, yeah, they let them shit and just be like, oh well, that's what this dog does. Like, come on now. Like this is my it's like their child, but even like worse, I feel like. Where like I don't know.
it's even more obtuse, yeah, to act like, oh, that's my dog. Like dogs don't know what you're doing, right? They're not.
Like I feel like if a dog comes and like, I don't know, like chews up my shoes or something like that, then a dog owner would be like, oh yeah, like, oh sorry about that, he's just playing around. And I'm like, well, you're gonna fucking replace the shoes? Whereas like if their kid, like, I don't know, like damaged my shoes, like colored on them or something, they'd be like, oh I'm sorry, like I'll buy you a new pair. But it's like the dog can get away with murder. It's like, I
Yeah.
don't know. That's maybe that's a bad example, but it seems that way. I don't know.
Right.
But when I was in, it's funny how when you say like the mask thing, like I don't know if it's like required, and is it required in Portland, like everywhere you go, like indoors?
For the mask, yeah, it is again, I think, but I'm not up to date on the outdoors thing, because there's still it doesn't really matter here because people just kind of they just behave responsibly. Right? Like in South Carolina, it's a much bigger deal to know what the rule is, but here people kind of go above and beyond to just avoid stuff. So that's why that woman telling me in front of all those people, that's why everyone turned around, because she was like, just put on a fucking mask or whatever. I'm like, everyone just saw you spit in my face, basically, right? So it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
But when I was in LA, despite the regulations, whatever they were, LA seemed to be a much more mixed bag of people's expectations. People, even if the restaurant required a mask when you came in, it seemed a lot more laid back. than it is here, in terms of like, you know, people weren't like real quick to be like, hey, put it on when you walk to the bathroom. But
Right. I guess it just depends. Each place is different here. It's such a big city. But what's interesting is like it's different for counties, you know, like because I went down to San Diego and I remember like I walked into the grocery store and I was like, oh wait, I gotta put my mask on. And then I saw other people without and I was like, oh, it's kind of like if you want to, you can. Because like a lot of
right.
people didn't. And I'm like, oh. And it's funny because I'm just like you can drive like an hour or whatever, like to like Orange County, and it could be different there. It's like seems like you just drive a little bit and then all of a sudden way different rules. Like Riverside County, an hour and a half to Temecula, it's like there's not even COVID there. It's no one wears a mask.
Hmm.
And it's I'm like, huh, just an hour and a half away. It's I mean it's you know way less populated, but still just interesting
Yeah.
that it's like a whole different world that close. But um yeah.
Well, you know, Oregon's the same way. I mean, outside of Portland, Oregon's just like South Carolina.
Right, it's pretty rural, huh?
Yeah.
Or there's rural areas, right? Like
Well, I mean, it's like, it's so rural that, you know, they've tens of thousands of people have put together a petition to secede from the state and become part of Idaho. So, and it's not going to succeed, but they did a pretty good job. I mean, there's a lot of people who are like, we don't want to be a part of this. So
I think wasn't California doing something like that too to like separate into like two parts or three parts?
yeah, I haven't read that, but I haven't taken that drive for the first time from Portland to, because remember I just got in my car and drove from Portland to LA, and I did it in 2 nights, but on the way back I did it in 1 night and 1 day.
Man.
And from yeah, I mean, it's like most of California, like once you get past the Bay Area, it's just farmers, like Trump voters who farm, and it's just a totally different, you know. And it's interesting actually to go through it, because you can kind of see why people, if you're out there by yourself and you're just running this huge farm and you have this land, I can understand why your political views would be a lot different than mine, right? Because I don't do anything, right? I'm just here, like I'm not feeding America. But yeah, I was just going to say that it was probably Northern California, I would imagine, like east of the 5, right? Like not the coast, but I was taking the 5 down to Sacramento and then LA, but not much to see in Northern California. All right.
Good to be back.
Yeah,
Thank you
man.
for listening. We love you. See you soon.